Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now we all know that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, so Hannah Richards will be demonstrating how to make a quick, easy breakfast but still bursting with good protein, fats and filling carbohydrates, which is great for your mental health as well. And also the 1950s were the start of a lot of change. World War II had come to an end and our quality of life was much better. So we have the lovely Gregoire sisters, Cynthia, Liza Gregoire and Theresa Maegan Gregoire, and they'll be showing us what it was, what was in vogue from this pinnacle period. They make me giggle sometimes. And we also have Jane Wrafter, who'll be giving us her fitness tips on how to do a chest fly with hand weights, and I'll be giving you my happy tips on how to deal with someone that's proud. But first, we have the news with Excel.
Good evening, Chrissy.
Good evening, Excel. How are you?
It's a pleasure to be here as usual with you, Chrissy. Yes.
I am glad.
Oh, it is true.
Do we have some lovely news?
We have, and I have some hilarious news for you today. I have to say, I think I'll start off with our Scoundrel of the Week story. Well, actually, Scoundrels of the Week, actually it is today, because some people were recently rumbled by the weather and found to be committing an illegal act. They were rumbled because police in Netherlands were called to a particular house because neighbors noticed the snow on the roof was melting faster than anywhere else on the street. Oh. If we cue photo, you might understand why. So that, okay. I had to giggle when I saw this. For those of you who don't know, please do not try this at home. However, that picture there just indicates that they had, because for people to grow cannabis indoors, you have to use high energy halogen lamps or whatever it is. I won't go into details, so you can Google it. But basically, because of the high, the temperature in that ceiling, obviously in that top attic or whatever it was, that the snow obviously was melting faster than the rest of the, so everyone was like, what's going on in that house? And so the police had to call the neighbors had to call the police. And so they raided the building and they found several lamps that were used to grow cannabis plants. And of course, that part of the house was so hot, so the snow was melting faster than the rest of the building. And so, yes, they were sprung.
What a way to get sprung.
I know. Apparently, this method is actually common amongst the police in the country. And they keep releasing such images so as to let people know, to kind of let them know, if you find any such thing, please alert us. And apparently as well, police in the UK have also used thermal cameras to seek out houses that kind of look too hot, kind of things, a bit, abnormal for central heating. So yeah. If you grow cannabis in your house, get rid of the plants now. Right, but it was actually quite hilarious, I have to say. And keeping it slightly on the cannabis theme, I have to say, this is not central theme here, I promise you. But there's actually an app for people who use cannabis to meet one another. Really? Yeah, yeah. It only happens in America. They have their own dating app and it's called Hi There. Oh dear. Yeah, well, apparently the cannabis community has welcomed this edition because, it's like for like, because people have complained that people's dates have ended as soon as they mention cannabis, and so they want to find like-minded people. And apparently the app is only available in 23 states where cannabis is actually legalized, decriminalized, or available for medicinal use. Yeah, no thanks. But anyway, yes, well.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Very, I have to say. But yes, we'll leave that now. Shocking news, I have to say, and I had to mention, a British man was left shocked after doctors discovered that he had a womb.
What?
Yep, you heard it here first. He has a womb, meaning he could potentially become pregnant. But the unidentified man, so I have no photo for you.
He's actually a man.
A man, an actual man.
With man bits.
With man bits. Apparently his condition is, he was discovered when he underwent an MRI scan because blood was found in his urine, first of all. Yeah. And so the scan then revealed he's from Lancashire. He possessed
But does he have anything else?
He does have...
No, but I mean...
No, as in he has...
Does he have lady bits too?
He does.
But as in on the outside?
No, as in he has a functional set of female organs that causes periods.
But he doesn't look like a woman as well from the outside.
He is a man. He is an actual man. And this condition is actually called the Mullerian duct syndrome. It's a rare condition where a person has external male genitalia and internal female reproductive organs. It's an actual condition. So now they've urged him to have an operation to remove the female organs. He says he's a normal...
But can he function as a man?
Yeah.
Right.
He says according to him, he says he's an ordinary bloke and he's actually in a relationship with a woman and he
should have a baby.
Oh, behave. Do you think if men had babies, I don't think we'll have so many children.
Imagine, well,
you think a man can stand the pain? I doubt it. I digress.
Well, he's not going to give birth, is he?
But
he
apparently,
can't.
He can't.
Be a cesarean.
Exactly. But so he literally now has to, you know, obviously take out the organs because apparently the blood in the urine. I know. The blood in the urine is apparently caused by PMT.
Oh no.
He says it could be a result of his periods and an ache that he has after he.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So it could be caused. Basically, he potentially has PMT and periods, and he's a man, and yes, this is a rare condition, and he said it says here as well that apparently 120 babies in the UK are born with Mullerian duct syndrome every year. And
I suppose they don't know unless something happens to them and they go...
Exactly, which in his case, he didn't know until he discovered blood in his urine and he had to go to
guys, if you're having
tested.
Tummy pains, you could be having a period. Oh my gosh.
I know, it's really weird. When I saw it, I was like, what? I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. So this is the...
Wow, I'm shocked.
Indeed. But something that's about to happen that nearly happens every year, I thought I'd highlight, is the Red Nose Day, where this year the theme is make your face funny for money. And I had to capture some lovely, lovely couples here, and it's all highlighted in this video, so we've got to take a look.
Hello, I'm Vernon Kay, and we are on the set of the Red Nose Day, Make Your Face Funny for Money.
Rochelle and I are here on behalf of Comic Relief, taking part in something that I've always wanted to do.
Here we go. It's going to start with a little contour blend.
You did one eye different colour to the other.
No, I'm blending. It's actually really good.
Do you fancy me?
Yeah.
Red Nose Day is important because we raise a massive amount of cash for all kinds of different projects. Not just projects in Africa, but also projects in the UK as well.
I mean, it's great when people get involved with Red Nose Day. You know, it's obviously for a fantastic cause. You know, you want to be as funny and humorous as you can, but also remembering, you know, there's a serious side to the fundraising.
This is Test Daily, Make Your Face Funny for Money, and as you can see, it's got this lovely big blue skyline eye, it's got the red lips, and the cheeks, the rosy cheeks, look a little bit like Aunt Sally from Wurzel Gummidge.
I'm lost for words.
This Red Nose Day, why not get your partner, kids or friends to put on your makeup for the day?
Yes, make your face, like mine, funny for money.
Very funny.
We should do that on the show to each other.
I know, oh God. Oh, the possibilities. Would you trust me, Chrissy?
Yeah, I would. Just for a good cause.
Oh, right then. I think we should do that very soon. Ooh, I have ideas for you already. But I mean, so that's the theme this year. And as we know, you know, this happens every year. And we, so this year they're saying make your face funny for money. And they've captured a few people here. I have some shots as well of the after effect of the makeup. That's Tess Daly and her husband Vernon Kay, as well as we also have. There you go. That's Rochelle and I think it's Marvin, his name is, I forget. And of course we have the ever famous bromance, David and Simon there. He also made his face up. And of course, Lenny Henry, the face of Red Nose every year. So fantastic. I mean, we thought that, you know, so we'll highlight this because I think it features in March every year. So, you know, the project has already started for people to start fundraising, which is brilliant. So, but yeah, and
I don't think we've got time for another one.
Oh,
no. Join us later.
Oh, right. Okay.
You're not going to run away, are you, Excel?
Oh, no, I won't. I got plenty more for you.
Okay, brilliant. We'll do stay around because we need you. All right, but guys, do stay tuned because after the break, we've got 1950s fashion and makeup from Cynthia Liza Gregoire and her sister Theresa Maegan Gregoire.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, so now we've gone back to the 50s with the Gregoire sisters. Hello, ladies.
Hi, Chrissy.
How are you?
Good. I'm good. How are you?
Thank you.
Loving this.
So we're going to start off with makeup first, aren't we?
Yes. So the 1950s. So coming from the 1940s, we definitely had the Russian red lipstick that was absolutely fab. But going into the 50s, it was really about the glamour. So the hairstyles were just extravagant. We have demonstrated some of the key looks tonight. And it's really about just getting that hair into that creative atmosphere. Cynthia also has a 1950s hairstyle with the beehive that was very much exaggerated, you can see, and her accessories as well. So the 1950s hairstyle, when you're doing your hair, you ever wonder what those curl setters are for? It's for the 1950s vintage hair. Okay. So if you're wanting to create the 1950s hairstyle, you want to make sure that you section and leave the bits of hair that you're going to do, you know, your little rolls with, and you leave them out, but also that you make sure that you're curling in the exact same way. So you're curling under, and then you're actually letting those rollers set. And that's so that when you actually brush your hair out, that it goes in the same direction and it creates that nice glamour wave. So you see a lot of that on the red carpet, the 1950s coming in. One of the things with the eye makeup, we'll just talk about.
Okay, we'll just have the brushes, please, so don't worry, you can come into the shot.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The eye makeup was very simplistic, Chrissy. It was all about, you know, the pastels. It was an era of pastels, and also, you know, there was a little bit of a technique that I'll demonstrate on Cynthia to the kind of eye which would suit those exaggerated lips, which we'll get to next. So what we have on all over the eye is just a nice matte shadow of a beige or a white, and then we've contoured with a little bit of a sand type just to give a little bit of shape. So we've just, close your eyes, we've just put a little bit of that kind of sand taupe, just a very nice, lovely taupe. And actually, Chrissy, a lot of brides love this for the wedding because it just, it's very glamorous, it's very subtle, it's very natural. Open. And one of the things is, when they created that drama, it was very concentrated. It was very concentrated, close, on the outsides of the eye. So you can see where I'm actually adding that color and I'm bringing it in, working on the side, and I really am careful not to blend that in there because I really want it, open your eyes, just to accentuate the outside. So that really brought the drama in a simplistic, natural way, which the 1950s eye was all about. Another thing was that where we had crazy eyeliner before, now we have a very subtle flick, very subtle, thin flick. And that was just drawn out. You'll see Angelina Jolie wearing that. You'll see just a little bit more on the outside, and that's just very subtle. There's not a big, huge cat eye like, you know, we had with, you know, the mod makeup and such. We definitely have just a little, and I've got a liquid liner that actually has that very nice thin tip from Illamasqua, and it's just there on the outer bits, and it just creates that little bit of something just drawn out. I'm just going over, obviously, and I haven't gone too much off the eye, just a little flick, just a little bit of prettiness. And you can always add a false lash to add that extra glamour. You always see Marilyn Monroe and she's exaggerating her lips and she's got those, you know, curly little lashes. So if you really want to get 1950s, you can add that little accent. And so what we did with the lips, which you see, you know, Kylie Jenner, who's very infamous for exaggerating those lips, you see the liner actually drawn on the outside of the lips, and it's actually in a very round shape here. And I'm doing this with a very dark red. So Marilyn Monroe, she had fabulous red lips, and they were actually a mixture of reds. So she had a darker red, which would be the equivalent to this Russian red. So there are lots of different reds, Chrissy, and we've kind of done that on our red lipstick segment, but we'll just go into a bit now. And we've blended it a bit. And so we're just blending that in. It's the deeper red. So we want to actually make these look real. Actually, Cynthia's got fabulous red lips as it is, or big full lips as it is. But then there's the orange reds that really took over the 1950s. And do you want to know, they did a survey, and they surveyed a large amount of women, and 2/3 of them were wearing the lipstick. So we've got that orange red to bring that three-dimensional bit. And because we really wanted to get into the spirit, we've actually even drawn on that Marilyn Monroe dot just to actually top it off. So there you have it.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's lots of fun, very glamorous. I love the era. And when you think glam and red carpet, check out some of those 1950s makeup and hairstyle inspirations.
Brilliant. Thank you. All right, so let's go into the fashion now.
All right, Chrissy, well, carrying on from what Maegan said, we're going to go into some 1950s glamour fashion. But first of all, I'd like to show you a bit of the history of where this fashion came from. So I have a few slides to go through at first. So this first slide here is actually a catwalk show of Christian Dior at 30 Avenue de Montaigne in Paris. And here's where Christian Dior showed what journalists then called the new look. And if we stop on this slide and take a look, you can see the nipped in small waist with the large, full skirt, calf length. Basically what's happened here is the 1947 World War II had just ended, so all of the rations on the fabric was lifted, and now fashion just went crazy. It's like they almost went opposite and tried to use as much fabric as possible. If you wonder how they get some of those skirts so full in the 1950s, there's up to 75 meters of fabric underneath
really?
in petticoats and such. So you can see that they sort of went the other way. Carrying on with the slides, the next one we have here couture Pierre Balmain pinning, I believe her name is Ruth, and she is an actress from America. So here's where America really looked to Europe for that glamour and for those couturists to dress them in all that excess fabric and those big silhouettes. Here we have Princess Eva from Argentina, wearing Dior in 1950. So look how full that skirt is. Like, would you be able to move? It's very nostalgic of, say, the Victorian era, that feminism, that, that exaggerated, waist that's small and then that big full skirt. Carrying on with the last few slides here, again, we have Dior 1950. Raf Simons doing something very similar in 2015 with that white silhouette, sort of almost looks like a
bell.
A bell, exactly. I was going to say a very nice silhouette. And the last two slides here, just take a look at those, Chrissy. These are 1950s catalogs, and you can see the dresses are like $7 on them. I want them all. But you can see there on the next slide all of the details and the collar, the printed skirts, the covered buttons. Very, very typical of the 1950s. And so what we'll do now is we're going to go to our own outfits today, and everything today has been provided by a London designer called Mrs. Pomeranz, and she designs 1950s inspired dresses made for year 2015. So very, very nostalgic in her designs, but also very, very modern as well. So I'd like to start with Chrissy's outfit today, and Chrissy, we'll just take a look. This beautiful blue dress here, paired with red heels. Red is such a signature color for the 50s, such a cool accent color. This is done in a shiny, iridescent Liberty's fabric, blue, shiny. The blue flowers on it are very floral, very feminine, and we've got the tight belt on it with making the waist look very small, and we have the neckline that's showing the collarbones, and it looks fabulous with your hair and makeup. So you can see that we have a 2015 touch on a 1950s dress. Next we have my sister Maegan, and she's actually wearing a two-piece, and we have her in this lovely skirt with, again, calf length We've got a full shape. You could wear a petticoat under this, but we don't want it looking too full. A very cinched in waist. I've tucked in a vest all the way with just a short cropped cashmere top to go with this. Also, again, doing the hair in the rolls. And then we have the red lipstick and signature purple shoes. For myself, we have this black dress. I've accented it with a red belt. We've got also a full skirt. I've got red shoes, round toe, sort of Mary Jane's, very prominent in the 1950s, as well as these dresses are really cool, Chrissy, because they've got a Peter Pan collar, and it also comes in white. So although a Peter Pan collar was actually before the 1950s, it just gives that extra little bit of style to the dress. And it comes in white, and you can change that as well. So those are our looks for today. And we'll just go to the rail, Chrissy, and take a look at some of these dresses and try to pick out some of those influences that we've seen. Of course, gloves, Maegan, I'll get you to just hold those, but the gloves here, very elegant and feminine touch to any outfit. But folks at home that were looking at the slides, you can see that this collar here, very, very prominent of the 1950s, the detail there, and it's also detachable. Chrissy, could I get you to hold a few of those ones? Maegan, you hold a few of those ones there. So here we have just some of her latest collections. You can see that, you know, there's the up-to-date dyeing processes. We've got these lovely florals. All of them feature sort of like a full silhouette. We've got the belt there, all different kind of shapes and sizes. A few more pieces here. We've got, again, the V-neck. This one's a little bit shorter. We have this one with the Peter Pan collar. Just really a lot to choose from. This one's really cool too because of the, I love the buttons on that as well. Yeah, we've got the colored covered buttons, so the attention to detail, this lovely print here, and you have your choice of belts to go with that. So cool. You can change up the look with that. Cool. So really have a lot of fun with that. So. Brilliant. All right. Well,
thank you so much, girls. That was lovely. So we're back to the 1950s in 2015, basically. Great. Alrighty, so we have reached the end of this segment, but after the break, I'll be covering how to deal with someone that's proud, so don't go away.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to the program. So now I'm going to be speaking about ways that you can deal with someone that's proud. But I'd just like to ask Excel first, how would you define a proud person? And I don't mean in a good sense, the kind of pride that isn't great.
I think a proud person is probably most characterized by the fact that they're not willing to accept they're wrong. I think that might be a major part, because I think kind of always thinking you're right, always wanting to have your own way, and, you know, just kind of generally believe, you know, always wanting the last word, and that you have, you know, your way is the way. It's your way or the highway.
Have you dealt with anyone like that?
Oh yeah, I've dealt with a few like that. Yes, yes, indeed.
It's hard because I mean your first instinct, because people that are proud are very, very difficult to deal with. So whether that's in your workplace or maybe friends, your first instinct is to actually avoid them. But what do you do if it's someone maybe like your partner or family member? You can't really avoid them. You have to learn how to deal with them. So the first thing I would say is don't criticize them, because if you've ever confronted someone that is proud, they will just see it as an attack. They get very defensive. They don't want to hear what you have to say, and they will just think that you don't like them or you're attacking them. So probably not the best idea to confront them. So what do you do then? So something that you could do is to discreetly ask for help. Now you have to be, when I say discreetly, you really have to be careful about this one, because they can't find out that you're doing this. So maybe you can actually go to someone that you know and trust, that's not going to say anything, and ask for some advice, or even ask them to actually speak to this person, because sometimes a proud person may not speak to the person that's closest to them, but they would respect someone else, for example. They would listen to someone else for some reason. Maybe that person is kind of doing better than them. So they're going to kind of take notice of what that person says. So that's another kind of tactic that you can use. Number 3, I've just lost my points. Number 3, make them think that it was their idea. What do you think I mean by that, Excel?
I suppose when you sort of point something out, so she's putting him on the spot here. It's quiz test time. I think it's probably have to do with, you know, whatever you suggest to them, make them sort of think it was their idea, in the sense of, what do you think about this?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. So, because they don't like to take advice, you kind of have to make it sound like it was them. So like Excel said, what do you think if we did this, and what do you think? And then they're going to say, well, I'm not sure, but let's try maybe try this thing. And he said, yeah, that's a brilliant idea. I think it's wonderful. Great, thank you so much for that. And then they feel good about themselves. And, you know, you could sort of turn things around that way. I know it sounds a little bit sneaky, but, you know, you've got to try these things. As if you've tried sort of the other stuff and it's not working, what can you do? Number 4, instill confidence. Now, you really need to actually create a friendship with someone that's proud, because they don't easily trust people. So give them that confidence. Don't judge them or criticize them, as we said before. And if you really sort of show them that you are there for them and things like that, eventually they'll probably open up. And this is the thing about someone that's proud. We shouldn't judge them, basically, because obviously something's happened to make them that way. Maybe it was the way they were brought up. Maybe that's things that happen with their parents, and they don't like to sort of show their weakness in front of people. So in that sense, show that you can be trusted, and they will eventually probably open up to you. And this one is a little bit different. Now, if you see that they are those kind of people that are really, they're really set in their ways, and they don't really care about anyone else's opinion, don't spare them. What do I mean by that? Don't spare them from embarrassing situations, because sometimes people have to really feel embarrassment for them to kind of change. So if, for example, you see that they're going to make a mistake, or that they're going to, you know, to maybe make a fool of themselves even, and you've already said to them, look, you know, I don't think you should do this, they're not listening, so just let them make the mistake. Because that's the best way, actually, that we all learn sometimes, isn't it? So we learn from our mistakes. We learn from the things that we do wrong. We get embarrassed. We go red. But then we know what not to do next time. So don't spare them from those situations. Don't try and wrap them in cotton wool and try to protect them from certain things. There's certain things that they're going to have to go through anyway. And maybe that will be the actual step where they will change their ways as well. But at the end of the day, as I said, with family members and stuff, it's kind of hard. You can't really avoid them, but try and love them for who they are, and just find ways of dealing with them rather than cutting them off completely, I would say. Anything you'd like to add to that, Excel?
No, I agree, particularly that last point. I think it's about the fact that after you've tried, when you've done 1 to 4 and you just kind of have to let them just fall into that, you know, let them fall flat on their faces, you know, because I think like you say, you learn from experience. And I think someone once said it's better to learn from another person's mistake, but if they don't want to listen to the fact that they can learn from that, then let them make their own, and hopefully that will get them to snap up and change.
Thank you, Excel. Now, before we go to break, let's take a look at this fitness tip with Jane Wrafter, and we're also going to have some more news.
Hi everybody, Jane here with your fitness tips. Today I'm going to show you how to do a chest fly with hand weights. So chest flies are really effective for targeting your pectoral muscles, otherwise known as your chest muscles. And if you have a nice strong set of pecs, they can help give uplift to the ladies' bosom area. So that's why it's a good motivation for ladies to work the pecs. And guys as well, obviously, like working the chest muscle. So this applies to both. What I've got here is 4 kilograms. People often find this exercise a little bit difficult when they first start. So if you do, I would drop down to say 2 kilograms and work your way up. You'll be surprised at how much you can build up your strength quite quickly. So in terms of technique, we're going to bend the knees, rest the head down and lift the weights. You've got to hold your weights really firmly. and try and keep your wrists straight. So try not to flex the wrists, keep the wrist joint nice and straight. Elbows soft, weights above the chest, and then I'm going to engage my abdominals before I start. I'm just going to pull the belly button in and then open up the arms, almost touch the floor and not quite, and bring it back. Breathing out, breathing in. Watch out, guys, that your shoulders don't creep up into your ears. Okay, keep them down. And just also watch that the weights don't start floating up over your head. Keep them above your chest line. Another handy little hint is you can lift your legs, and you can add an exercise for your lower abdominals if you want to, by extending one leg and bringing it back. Extending one leg. And what I've got to do here, we'll just show you this, as the leg goes away, make sure that your body doesn't lift. So you're using your abdominals to press the lower back down. If you're really strong, you could go with both legs. I wouldn't do that unless you're sure about your back. That's just an option for the advanced people out there. Okay, so enjoy working with your weights, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much, Jane. So we've got a couple of minutes to the break, so we're going to have another news item with Excel.
Okie dokie. I have to say I was quite pleased to see this because apparently a survey recently revealed that the British accent is found to be the most attractive in the world.
Really?
Did you know that, Chrissy? Well, the British twang beat the American, the Irish and the Italian to get the top spot.
Not the Italians.
Oh yes,
surely.
we did. And while French, that we often, you know, associate with the whole je ne sais quoi, voulez-vous and all of that, was number 5. Really? It was the 5th most attractive accent. This was carried out by Time Out, and it did a global dating survey and came to this conclusion by surveying 11,000 people in 24 cities. Oh. So, you know, and however, Paris was found to be the city with the best dating scene, and London came in 6th in that category. And Paris might be.
What do they mean by dating scene?
I suppose
in places you can go for a date.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, things that kind of you can go with your partner, etc. So it was found to be the best in terms of what's available, the setting maybe. I didn't quite get the individual points. And London came in 6th, like I said. So Paris apparently might be the city of love because of that now. But being single in Sydney, this is Australia, is apparently the best, because 31% of people there describe themselves as proudly single. Oh, I hope you listened to the last segment, guys. However, the people of New York are not quite as secure, because nearly half of daters said their single status makes them sad. Oh. No. And also, the survey also looked at things like the average number of people go on 3.53 dates before they have business, as I would call it. And over half...
Is that all?
I know. And over half kissed on a first date. Well, indeed. But there's apparently a 3-date rule, which, you know, that's why they say after 3 dates, it means they can do whatever it is they want to do.
Oh, well. All right, Excel, we're going to go to a break.
Indeed.
But do stay tuned for more news.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Now, before we go back to Excel with some more news, let's find out how we can make a quick, taste, delicious breakfast from diagnostic nutritionist Hannah Richards.
Hello and welcome to the MTS Kitchen. My name's Hannah, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really quick and easy breakfast full of good protein, good fats and yummy carbohydrates. I'm going to do a mackerel and avocado open sandwich. I've just toasted some sourdough bread. Sourdough, although not gluten-free, it doesn't have any yeast in it, which is an ingredient that gives lots of people issues. So if you don't want to go gluten-free, your next best choice is a sourdough bread. I'm going to use a really good fat, which is avocado. Now, a great tip with avocados is that often when you buy them, they are really hard and you certainly can't spread them. So put them into a brown paper bag and put them into your fruit bowl, and the darkness allows them to ripen. Now, on top of the avocado, I'm going to just flake some smoked mackerel. And the other fish you could use that works quite well in the morning are sardines. Just a tin of sardines and just use them in exactly the same way. Now, for a bit of colour, I'm going to just cut 2 cherry tomatoes, and these are almost like eating sweets. I'm just going to top it off with a few chili flakes, bit of black pepper, pinch of sea salt, squirt of lemon. Now you tell me you haven't got time for breakfast in the morning.
I'm so hungry right now.
I know, gosh. She stop having these food demonstrations.
I keep saying I'm good. Every time I see something from Hannah Richards at one of her recipes, I keep saying I'm going to definitely make this one, and then I forget. But that one's just like, I've only ever made the smoothie, I think. Naughty Chrissy. Well, and they're also good for you. That's the thing. It's all good. It makes you feel good when you eat well. Yeah. When you eat well, it really makes a difference
makes
to
you glow.
Yes.
From within to without.
All right, so we have some more news before we go.
This certain young man who doesn't look like he was actually glowing, he went out with his friends, and on their way back, this has happened in Manchester, they'd gone to celebrate a friend's birthday, and on their way home, they hired a minibus, a taxi minibus, and his friends forgot him in the back of the bus. And so he got forgotten. They were that drunk. They were they were that drunk, yeah. So the next thing, he was alone with the driver outside the driver's house because that was his last trip of the day. And so, of course, he was asleep and he had sort of hunched over in the back, right at the back. So he didn't see him. So, of course, when he realized where he was like, oh, right. And for him to go back home would have cost him probably another £50. So basically, he tried to call everyone and they didn't, no one came to pick him up. So he ended up going into the man's house and they sat down and watched an episode of Take Me Out. He actually took a picture of the guy. I didn't find this picture. I didn't want to bring it.
I was looking for it. Okay.
But he literally took a picture of the taxi driver saying, I'm in this guy's house watching Take Me Out. And he literally took a picture of him and the TV screen saying, yeah, we're
that was good of the cab driver, wasn't it?
Exactly.
This guy's a complete stranger. Well, it's not really wise to do that, is it?
Well, indeed.
Not a clever thing,
but I think he ended up now getting one of his friends to come and pick him up.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So, but again, when he then said, I'm round the corner, come out and get in, he got lost. So he spent another 2 hours wandering around before he finally found his lift. But don't get to the point where you don't remember anything because kind of the fun goes. But anyway. But yes, I thought that was quite hilarious, to be quite honest. Something else that was that actually made me tickle. A young lady was left at home while her boyfriend was going out with his friends. And so she decided to hack into his phone and left him a very lovely screensaver. So if we take a look at the photo, we can see what the screensaver was. On the left there is when the screen is locked. So you can see her pointing her fingers to her eyes as though I'm watching. And then when he unlocks the screen, he sees the picture on the right, you. So I'm watching you. Perfect. Perfect. Of course, that wouldn't have stopped him from doing anything if he was going to do anything. Exactly. However, we have to commend her for her, genius. Absolutely. She was very genius to have done that. But of course, he obviously saw the funny side of it and he posted that on social media. So, yes, very, very hilarious. You've got a cat. You can't exactly take your cat for a walk, can you?
No.
Okay. But people who have dogs tend to do that. Okay, let's cue this video of this dog.
Come on, Amos, let's go for a walk. Come on. Let's go walk. Time to go. Come on, Amos, let's go for a walk. All right, come on, up and at him. Let's go, big walk. Up, let's go, let's go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. All right, let's get outside.
How cute. Oh, the poor thing, he looks really down.
That did not want to do walkies.
I was just saying, what dog in its right mind does not want to go out for a walk?
I was thinking, what is going on here? Like, you find dogs, all you have to do is just take the lead,
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
already wagging so, you know, ferociously, like wanting to leap at you. So I even see some people, their dogs take them for a walk. They're literally like running ahead of them. I'm thinking, this dog, you're practically like peeling him up. Can't be bothered.
We should do a show on depressed pets.
I know. I think that is actually a genuine possibility because I know vets have spoken about that.
Really?
You know? Yeah,
Really?
yeah. It is very, very possible. Yeah, I know it's something I have read about before. Now you just think, like, you kind of don't really think about it because obviously they can't tell you, or you can't really, you just think
Yeah,
it's
but
an
you can
animal.
tell from their behaviour,
But
can't
that
you?
seriously, when I saw that, I thought, what is the matter with that dog? Are you too full? You just can't be bothered. Maybe you'd be running around already in the house. You're too tired to go for more walks. But it just, oh, seriously, I couldn't. I just, you know, I couldn't. But anyway, a mother. I found this really lovely news actually. A mother has thanked a 911 dispatcher who risked his job to save her young son during a frantic emergency call. Melissa Grable was beside herself when her 17-month-old son, Aiden Walker, had a seizure at home. This is in Virginia in the United States. Her grandmother was there and sort of shouted at her to call 911. But what happened was that apparently, because you know sometimes, I suppose different countries sort of it varies, because I know here the person you speak to over 999 can sort of tell you what to do until the paramedic gets here, right? But apparently, maybe that's particular to this state, he wasn't allowed to give her any instructions. Apparently you have to have a license to give instructions over the phone, and they didn't have that license, and so they weren't allowed to give instructions over the phone. You just had to wait for the paramedics. But because they were both sort of panicking, in fact, I watched the video, it was heart-wrenching. I was like, he's gonna die, I don't want him to die, I can't lose him, this is my only son. And you could hear the agony in her voice, it was, oh. And so she said, I don't want him to die, he's my only son. And so he now said, I'm not gonna let you lose him. And then, first of all, before then, he had to get the sort of the nod from his supervisor, because they really are not allowed, and potentially he could have been fired for that. And so his chief in charge of the shift sort of gave him a nod and said, okay, right, go ahead. And so he asked, you know, it was fantastic. He just said, put him on the kitchen table. And so the child got put on the kitchen table, and he literally talked her through, because he could do CPR, but he just wasn't allowed to tell somebody else. That was the whole sort of red tape. So he then sort of gave her the instructions, put him on the table, and she did CPR and was able to, you know, revive him. Wow. And so, because the closest ambulance was 20 minutes away. So this is why I think it's probably some rural part of Virginia. And so because it was trying, so she was like, look, we've got to do this. So like I said, he got the nod, put him on the kitchen table, did all of that, performed CPR, everything, and he was resuscitated. And then by the time the ambulance got there, obviously just carried on with other things they had to do. And he made a full recovery, absolute full recovery. And because I think they said he had epilepsy or something, or he was choking, so he was having a seizure. And so, you know, at least I'm glad that came to a good end. And also they came back to visit him at the station about 2 weeks later. And I have a shot of the woman with the son and her grandma. And they came to see him at the station to say, you know, to say thank you, to obviously grateful that he saved the life. Oh, there you go.
Bless.
That's our young man there. So, you know,
that's a lovely story to end on.
Absolutely.
Well.
Made a friend for life.
Much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, my lovely. So we have reached the end of today's programme. Thank you very much for watching. And if you want any information about the programme, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. And if you'd like to email me personally, you can do so on chris@chrissybshow.tv. See you next time.
To not be at his PlayStation, play with his PlayStation and
spend time with his partner.
Play with his partner.
Definitely.
Let's put it that way.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one, Elena.
You know.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask you another question.
True. You know.
Completely forgot what I was going to say then. Now tell me some of the
What did we do?
Where do I go from? Sorry, where do I go from?
It's not me. I'm not doing anything.
So that's a really good idea, isn't it?
Okay.
Imagine if the show were live.
We're in trouble.
3, 2, 1.
Guys, I have to go home tonight.
Am I fired?
So fired.
So we have to try to find time to update your Facebook.
That wasn't me. That was evidence, right? That was proof there, okay.
Status, Twitter status. What?
Stop it. It's your fault now.
What did I do?
I didn't laugh.
No, you started laughing. I was in the zone.
There you go. This is Chrissy B for you, okay? This is Chrissy B.
I was in the zone and you took me out of the zone.